Well, here we are again. I watched the tape of yesterday's talk, and I just coughed my way through it. I don't, I don't know how any of you made your way through the Saturday morning cartoons yesterday because I sounded a lot sicker than I was. Okay, today I'm feeling a little better. Constance is feeling a little better, but we're both very weak, and which is to be expected. And uh, I've called off tomorrow night's Monday Night Magic class just to give us another week to rest up and get our poop together. Anyway, I felt good enough to take a walk to the coffee shop, and it's a good idea because this is one of the most beautiful spring afternoons or mornings that um, I've ever experienced in Sacramento. It is just paradisial. Wish I felt better enough to enjoy it more. But while I was obviously on a Sunday like this, and with the weather so nice, uh, everybody there were very few people at the coffee shop uh, who, if they weren't engaged in their three or four uh, toddler children that they brought along. It's a good morning for a walk. I can't begrudge. I can't begrudge that. Why anybody would want to breed a lot in these days and age is something that I might feel a little judgmental about. But be that as it may, kindly old Mr. DuQuette uh, just kept his mask on and nodded politely. And if they weren't engaged with chasing their kids down, uh, they had their phones in their hands. Okay. And they were giving the sign of their grade. This is the new American sign of the grade. Okay. Thinking they're being interactive and social. Now, I'm not going to make a social commentary on that, but it got me thinking. And because I am working on the brand new edition of Homemade Magic. Now, remember, Homemade Magic came out about 11 years ago and only stayed on the shelves. Llewellyn only kept it on the shelves for a very short time. It's one of my best books. Of course, I say that about all my books. Okay, uh, but it is the equivalent of My Life with the Spirits Part 2. Okay, and uh, after all these years, I got tired of it being out of print, and a lot of people wanting to read it. As a matter of fact, an almost new generation of people wanting to read it. That I was delighted when I got an email from the good folks at Schiffer Publishing, which does beautiful, many kinds of colorful art books and things like that. Schiffer was interested. Okay, they were interested in this and an accidental Christ or accidental Christ. So, I never, ignore an opportunity like that. And I got in contact with them, and sure enough, they want to do both Accidental Christ and a Homemade Magic. And we've inked the deal, and I've already sent off a new, improved, expanded manuscript for one, and I'm working on this one now. Hopefully, in a couple days, I'll get that off to them. But I was reading over, and when you haven't looked at anything really, something that you've done, and haven't looked at it very hard in 10 or 11 years, you're surprised. I mean, I'm surprised. I really like the book, and I was getting a kick out of it. And this morning, as I was watching a coffee shop full of people who were, in a sense, semi-present. In a sense, passive observers of input. And of course, that frustrates me because I want to talk with people. I want to talk with people, and I want to talk about myself in front of people. So that's very frustrating when they're in another realm. And in the chapter entitled "Backyard Mystery School," I have a little introduction that sort of helped me remind me of the spiritual dimension of what was going on there. And I open up with an epigram by Alan Watts. Okay. Now, I would assume all of you know, love, adore, worship, quote, study Alan Watts. But I keep forgetting not everybody is 77 years old, okay? Alan Watts, okay, AlanWatts. Write it down. Google it. Get everything you can. Not only that, but on Pacifica Radio up here in Northern California, there's an entire series of his lectures, and little things that are like 20 minutes long and things like that. He has this beautiful, deep English accent, and it just puts you at ease. And anyway, but I digress. Here's what Alan Watts says. In the Jewish, Christian, and Islamic religions, we think of God not only as a monarch, but as the maker of the world. And as a result of that, we look upon the world as an artifact, a sort of machine created by a great engineer. There is a different concept in India, where the world is not seen as an artifact, but as a drama. And therefore, God is not the maker and architect of the universe, but the actor of it, and is playing all the parts at once. And this connects up with the idea of each one of us as persons, because a person is a mask from the Latin persona, the mask worn by the actors in Greco-Roman drama. Okay, I'm going to probably peter out on you, but hang on just a second. Sorry. In Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream, which contains a play within the play, it's a comedy, Theseus, the king of Greece, and his new bride, Hippolyta, the queen of the Amazons, it's at their wedding feast. and there's goofy players playing a part. They won a contest to see who would entertain the the Duke, I guess, and they're so horrible. They're played by the clowns. Every Shakespeare play has clowns, just who fart and say dirty limericks and things, and just to keep the audience awake. And that's what I am. I'm proud to be one of the clowns in Shakespeare's drama. Anyway, and Hippolyta goes, God, these guys are awful, you know. And she says, this is the silliest stuff I've ever heard. And Theseus says about drama, the best of this kind are but shadows, and the worst are no worse if imagination amend them. I think it was yesterday I talked about the introduction to Henry V that Charles Laughton did on the Ed Sullivan Show that dealt with that imagination thing. There was a time when home theater meant the staging of an actual play in the parlor of one's home. The vision harkens back to a quieter age before radio or television, to the genteel domesticity of Victorian Little Women. If you've ever seen Little Women, the sisters all put on a play. It's very cute. With painted mustaches brandishing paper swords from atop a piano bench pirate ship. A time when even grown-ups knew how to pretend and were not afraid to put on silly hats and be a king or a queen or a villain for an evening. Such magic penetrates deeper into our genetic history than the 19th century. All magic started as drama, and all drama started in the home. Now, I go on to say how Constance and I have turned our home and our backyard into a theater since 1978. And we drew our friends and students into the fun. The quick point I'm trying to make here, and before I start coughing my brains out, is that nobody at the coffee shop looking silently at their phone while a world was going on around them they were the audience of existence and not the playwright or the actor in their own life. Now, for one reason or another, because I was sort of physically incapacitated when I was a young child, and I guess I was about 4 years old, 1952, when we got a television. It had a little round screen, it was like a radio with a round screen. It was, but I loved television, and it was, in a sense, television at its infancy, just like I was in my infancy. And when I grew up enough to be taken to the theater, I loved movies. Okay, just absolutely loved movies, because they gave me everything They gave me everything religion should give me. Okay? Imagination, inspiration, awe, horniness, all that stuff. But I could have just remained a passive audience, and there's nothing wrong with an audience because after all, the magician is the observer of their own existence, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I was never satisfied with that. And at every opportunity, little church plays, okay, little school plays, every chance that I got to stand up and assume a character and to try to find some expression of myself through that character, I took that opportunity. And perhaps it's the single most important quality in my magical life. Well, look at me. Every day I get up and strut around, make fun of myself, and make a fool of myself, and cough up loogies in front of thousands of people. And but I do it. It's not because I love it or it gives me any kind of instant gratification. It's just, it's always been my job. And if I would encourage any kind of spiritual seeker who also enjoys the company and the love and the interaction with others, and if you've got a couple friends and you've got a living room and you have access to the entire dramatic output of Western civilization at your fingertips, where you could print out copies of scripts and things like that. No matter what you do, no matter what the play is, it doesn't have to be Shakespeare, okay? But no matter what it is not only fun, but it's enlightening. And when you focus it on magical things like Crowley's Rites of Eleusis, there's 7 Rites of Eleusis, and you divvy up the parts there, and you don't know why did Crowley say this, and why is Frater Capricornus saying this? You don't know. You don't know until you do it. And even if you're going to spend like 3 weeks, okay, one night a week for 3 weeks, we're going to just do the Rite of Jupiter in the living room. Bring some champagne, okay? You will find that you naturally fall in to playing the right part, and then you realize these aren't just plays, these aren't just vignettes, these are initiations, and they're my initiations. And every one of the cast of characters feel the same way. It's big magic. It's homemade magic. And I hope you're all looking forward to it. You know how long books take once they're in the pipeline, so you don't be looking for it in the next year, even maybe shortly thereafter. We'll see. But be on the lookout for homemade magic too, and a beautiful new, awesomely produced Accidental Christ with new fun material. Anyway, I made it through relatively well, didn't I? Until tomorrow. There's no Monday Night Magic class tomorrow. Okay, remember that. But I should be here for the order of Monday morning. Until then, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. Fini.